Child labor refers to the exploitation of children through any form of work that deprives them of their childhood, interferes with their ability to attend regular schools, and is mentally, physically, socially, or morally harmful. It is a violation of children's rights and a global concern. Child labor can take various forms, including 1. Hazardous labor. Involvement of children in work that poses a direct threat to their health, safety, or moral development, such as working in mines, factories with dangerous machinery, or handling toxic substances. 2. Forced labor. Coercing or compelling children to work against their will through threats, physical or emotional abuse, or other forms of coercion. 3. Bonded labor. Children are forced to work to repay a debt, typically incurred by their families. This can lead to a cycle of debt bondage and exploitation. 4. Trafficking. Children are trafficked and subjected to forced labor, including commercial sexual exploitation, agricultural work, domestic work, or begging. 5. Street work. Children are engaged in activities like street vending, begging, or scavenging, which often exposes them to hazardous conditions, exploitation, and risks. According to the International Labour Organization, ILO, which is a specialized agency of the United Nations, an estimated 152 million children worldwide were engaged in child labor in 2016. This number includes children between the ages of 5 and 17 who were involved in work that was harmful to their physical and mental development, interfered with their education, or was performed at very young ages. Here are some key statistics regarding child labor globally. 1. Prevalence. Child labor is more common in developing countries, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, Asia, and the Pacific region. These areas account for the majority of child labor cases worldwide. 2. Age groups. Approximately half of all child laborers are between the ages of 5 and 11, while another 42% are between 12 and 14 years old. The remaining 8% are aged 15 to 17. 3. Gender. Child labor affects both boys and girls, but the distribution varies across regions and sectors. Girls are more likely to be involved in domestic work, while boys are more likely to be engaged in agriculture and other forms of physical labor. 4. Hazardous work. Around 73 million children are engaged in hazardous work, which includes activities that endanger their health, safety, or moral development. This can involve working with dangerous machinery, exposure to harmful substances, or long hours in difficult conditions. 5. Education. Child labor often prevents children from accessing education. It is estimated that around 25% of child laborers are simultaneously engaged in hazardous work, which significantly affects their ability to attend school. International organizations, governments, and civil society work together to combat child labor through various measures, including 1. Legislation and policies. Implementing and enforcing laws that prohibit child labor and establishing regulations that protect children's rights in the workplace. 2. Education and awareness. Promoting access to quality education and raising awareness about the importance of eliminating child labor. 3. Social protection. Providing social welfare programs, including financial assistance, health care, and nutrition, to vulnerable families to address the root causes of child labor. 4. Labor inspections and monitoring. Conducting regular inspections in workplaces to identify and address cases of child labor. 5. Supply chain transparency. Encouraging companies to establish transparent supply chains and ensure that their products are free from child labor. 6. International cooperation, promoting collaboration among governments, businesses, and organizations to address child labor at a global level and share best practices. 7. Community empowerment, supporting initiatives that empower communities economically, improve access to education, and provide alternative livelihood opportunities. It is crucial for individuals and societies to take a stand against child labor, advocate for the rights of children, and support efforts to create a world where every child is protected, educated, and given the opportunity to thrive. Eliminating child labor is a complex and multifaceted issue that requires collective efforts from governments, organizations, businesses, communities, and individuals. While there is no single solution, here are some key strategies that can contribute to the reduction and eventual elimination of child labor. 1. Strengthen legislation and enforcement. Governments should enact and enforce strict laws and regulations that prohibit child labor, set minimum age limits for employment, and establish penalties for violators. It is important to ensure that these laws are effectively enforced, and mechanisms for reporting and addressing child labor violations are in place. 2. Access to quality education. Promote universal access to quality education, ensuring that children have the opportunity to receive a formal education. Governments and organizations should work towards providing free and compulsory education, addressing barriers such as school fees, lack of infrastructure, and gender disparities. Education empowers children, reduces poverty, and helps break the cycle of child labor. 3. Poverty alleviation and social protection. Tackle the root causes of child labor by implementing poverty reduction programs and social protection measures that support vulnerable families. 3. This can include income support, livelihood opportunities for parents, access to healthcare, nutrition programs, and social safety nets that provide a safety net for families. 4. Raise awareness and change attitudes. Conduct public awareness campaigns to educate communities, parents, employers, and children themselves about the harmful consequences of child labor. Promote the understanding that education is a fundamental right, and child labor is not a viable solution for long-term well-being. 5. Strengthen child protection systems. Develop and strengthen child protection systems, including establishing helplines, shelters, and rehabilitation services for children rescued from child labor situations. 5. Provide counseling, healthcare, and reintegration support to help children recover and rebuild their lives. 6. Responsible business practices. Encourage businesses to adopt ethical and responsible practices throughout their supply chains. 6. Companies should conduct due diligence to ensure that their suppliers and subcontractors do not engage in child labor. 6. Promote transparency and certification programs that guarantee child labor-free production processes. 7. International cooperation. Foster collaboration among governments, organizations, and international bodies to share best practices, coordinate efforts, and address cross-border issues related to child labor. Support initiatives that promote ethical trade, fair labor practices, and responsible sourcing. 8. Empowerment and capacity building. Empower communities and families by providing skills training, income-generating opportunities, and entrepreneurship support. Strengthen local institutions and grassroots organizations to combat child labor effectively. 9. Monitoring and reporting. Establish robust monitoring systems to track progress in eliminating child labor. Encourage the reporting of child labor cases and ensure that appropriate actions are taken against perpetrators. 10. Consumer awareness and ethical choices. Encourage consumers to make informed choices by supporting companies that uphold ethical standards and have transparent supply chains. Promote the demand for products that are certified as child labor-free or from fair trade sources. Remember that eliminating child labor requires sustained commitment and collaboration from all stakeholders. By addressing the underlying causes, promoting education, raising awareness, and creating an environment where children are protected and given opportunities to thrive, we can work towards eradicating child labor and ensuring a brighter future for all children. Thanks for watching. Do not forget to subscribe, like, share,